Rate of change is faster than our ability to comprehend it and the cope with it, because it's by change will be happening some of the times. Market change now is another concept for the market change, or you can see the categories where the changes are. We have to focus on this area. The changes of customers wants, basically the desires of the customers are changing. Maybe so many reasons behind it. Goods and services also, competitors, then your government decisions, lot of rule and regulations. World events have changed the nature of people's expectations, price mechanisms, nationally or internationally, and moreover, new technology. So all these factors are for the market changes. Understanding the change, the political changes in other countries open up the opportunity for closely entry, and the raw materials shortages or their prices have to shoot up. Political changes are also a very important part, because if it is a stable, government is very stable. So you cannot, it might not be a very changing process. Some stability is there, means there are no very fast changing are there, means in the sense of your business economically or other things are not very much affected. So there some smooth and seamlessly can go. But other way, if the political instability is there, so then it will affect in the lot of areas, growth and other areas also. It may or may not be sometimes, depending on the, it is debatable, but that way it will affect the changes, because definitely as the organizers, as the organizations, you have to change, you have to align with the present scenario. So keeping on mind in this way also. And sometimes the international opportunity means, suppose for example, the war is going on in some other countries. So their economy will be definitely, it will be goes down. So other neighbor countries opportunity will be there. They can send their materials, raw materials, they can send their peoples from human ground and other. So that way some scope, new scope are coming up for the neighbor countries also. So there is also a change, you can say it. Technological change, that is very important, because without the technical knowledge, technical changes, we cannot go further. We have to stuck up somewhere. So changes in the marketplace, given specific happenings in the company. So if the negative sign in any organizations, if the sign is negative, means growth is not there, it's downfalling, or the share values are diluting, deteriorating, declining. So there will be new urgency in the search for the new product. So definitely the organizations has to be see where the lack of, maybe the new technology is required, new product to be required, so new expectations from the old ones. So there will be the introduction of it can be found in order to re-establish the price advantage, quality preferences, or the dissatisfactions into the new products. So you have to change. So that's why you see the iPhone, one of the things. Every year they are, maybe sometimes twice in a year, their new product is launching, and with the new features and new demands by the the human demands. So new product, you have to diversify and the new products, and that third thing process are to be continued. So there will be a decision to explore the areas of the globe where you are not previously represented. And another thing, you have to explore the new areas or in the worldwide, the new countries where the countries are not productive this much. So you have to innovate the thing, you have to explore that area so that you can send or you can export the items to that countries and to that growth can be continued and profitability is also to be continued. So that is also the area of a changing areas. How it is possible? So that is as a tools, technology are tools basically to help you, to assist you to grow further. Now coming to organizational change. Try to understand what is the organizational change. This response to the marketplace will affect the organizations. You see, most of the times we are just hearing there's a retrenchment, reduction in the number of employees, reduction in the number of levels of the managements, and job cut or the maybe the LTC or other uh, French benefits are stopped or maybe reduce the amount. So these things are happening in the organizations. So new skills, operating sites may be reduced. The only way to stay in business may be a merger or to be the subject to a takeover, friendly or hostile. That situations may sometimes it has happened because some of the organizations are there to foresee or see that coming 2 3 years their product uh, may not be very much attracted by the customers. So they can plan accordingly. Okay, we can club some other companies or collaborate with some of the other kind of companies. Or we can merge or we can acquisitions or we can acquire some of the other companies. Those are product in line in the same product lines. So that way collaborating and as a joint venture, they can start a business and both the cases are win-win situations. So that is another change, it's organizational change. Acquisitions, merger, all are coming up. This takeover, uh, that ownership changes. So with such ownership changes, other market, that is technological and the organizational changes may follow. In some industries, it is an endless cycle. Some of the industries are always they are in that product, maybe the franchisees, and they are. That is the way they can change system. And I mean, throughout the world, they are making a chain, and new business explore. Now, another aspect is relationships. So you have to understand the relationships. As you know, the managers and the what are the workforce, the workers, there's some cordially they have to do with the jointly they have to do some of the work with a very good atmospheres and brotherhoodly, so that the relationships can be built up, and so that is some sort of formula for the change. In turns, it can be the productivity can be increased. Some changes that acceptance will be easier. So that's why the relationships, industrial relationships, or interpersonal relationships, all are coming up in this area. So relationship is very important to for the organizational changes. Feeling takeover and innovatively about change, markets, expectations, new technology is constantly being developed. It is a simple matter of business evolutions. Less secrecy and more openness, even at some risks, plus a major educational effort to get everyone in the company to expect change. And indeed, to create it within their own spheres would smoothen the path of the positive changes. I can give you some of the example here in this way. Basically, during the acquisitions, the process, lot of cultural differences is there. There, the company to company, maybe their way of cultural are different. So when the both the companies are joined together and they start their working, maybe the policies are different. So you have to make in a comprehensive policies where all the employees of both the companies can do a better job, and they can make their to meet their target also. What are the objectives set by the joint companies? So in that case, our educations, training and development, culturally, everything are very important. So that is a change process, and this process are very important. And then only it can be smooth, and some positive changes can be possible. Now we are talking about the organizational life cycles. Now organizational life cycles, a useful way to being the prepared to cope with the business change lies in the concept of the organizational life cycles. The idea that the individual human life passes through a series of stages, as we know, or human, as a human, we have to passes through a lot of series of stages. Childhood, then the youth, then your maturity, then then after that you slowly aging and coming up in the old ages. So there are 3, 4 stages are there we are passing through. As Shakespeare is saying, with the 7 ages of man, normally at the 7 ages of the man, we will in particular have read about and perhaps experienced midlife or the mid-career crisis. The organizational life cycle concept simply applies the same idea of the life. Same thing we have to apply. So we now present 3 possible phases. There are 3 phases are there, possible phases: the pioneering, systemization, and integrations. So first you have to prioritize the things. Then you have to make some systems, and finally you have to integrate, you have to add on everything. So organizational life cycles, Harry Woodward and the Steve, they are in 1987. They formulated. They have to create some of the definitions and some of the process. How to what should be the cycles. So in the cycle, the first things are formative. First stage is your formative. That is leader manager, inventing, learning, and risk taking. Because that is you have to form it. And within this formation, maybe the team building, the skill, everything are falling in that area. So we have to choose, we have to decide who will be the leading managers, leader of the things. So first things in the organizational life cycle, that formative is very important. It means formations. Then normative. Through this, by the analysis purposes or maybe the some negotiations, systems has to be developed. Procedures has to be by the joint ideas. All these ideas to be accumulated and analysis it and draw in some of the procedures, measures, the guidelines, formality, everything are there. The normative stages. You are different norms you are defining. So this is the very important systems. Third stage is your integrative creativity, where innovations, collaborations, new growth, freedom of the job, all our things are integrated by the creativities. Because you see, normative and normative stages are still require some of the innovations, because without innovations, creativity, you cannot really go further. So that is the third stage, where I can say that is the think tank where the people are expert people are thinking and they are creating some of the ideas and some collaboratively and for the new growth purposes. So all are basically the change process, the organizational change process as a life cycle you can see it. Now last stage, there are yeah. So there are many other stages also there, integrity things. Then triggers for the change. Now we have to decide for the triggers for the change. Here actually the fourth one should be implementations, because the implementation stage is there where to implement the things, and then finally you have to see the evaluations and finally the feedback. There are so many stages are there, so that and finally for the next projects or next times that can be continued. That idea will be developed. Now, triggers for the change. There are three main reasons for triggering the changes: market, technology, and resources. Market itself, because sometimes the market are not vibrant or market may be fluctuating. So you have to take a change or your ideas for the how to survive in the company. So you have to depend on some of the market itself. So triggering the market as one of the issues. Then technology changes. Maybe your product is old one. It's not as good as the latest state of the art technology. Maybe your product is obsolete, obsolescence. So you have to struggle it. You have to obsolete it. So new technology, you have to welcome the new technology to meet the market demand competitively. So another thing is the organization's the resources and the enterprise to achieve the success, because resources is very important, and that resources should be skilled enough so that they can contribute to the organizations as per the set objectives, so that finally achieve the success. So we also consider the tendency of the companies to follow a pattern of the similar life cycles. Now, I can the life cycles could affect the nature of the changes which might be expected. Now, types of change. The types of change is proactive, crisis change, proactive, CEO and change, then mission statement, personal styles, organizational change, market, quality, people change, training and development, involvement, quality, and improvement cycles. So everything are the type of changes. Creating the future. So so that the people can be engaged. Basically, the engagement of the workforce are very important, so that the people can do looking on future or considers. The future mindset applies at all the levels and will introduce the someone practical ways to understand to establish it, helping to everyone to be a change agent. So that everybody should be a quarterly and suppose he learn something, so you have to convey to others also, so that another leader can make another leaders. That is the motto. Now, I think let's see. Yeah, now change to the feedback. So now the another model of changes is based on the assumptions that a change get feedback to their behaviors and also have a theoretical framework which shows that the current behavior is dysfunctional. So feedback need to the objects of the non-setting. A good example of this model is work down program in the schools, changing the teachers' styles using the Flinders theory of the teachers' classroom interactions behaviors. So change by the feedback is always important, because sometimes the students are also giving a feedback to the principals and in these institutions. So based on this, the style of the teacher's teaching process can be changed and likely to be changed so that the better way they can communicate, a better way the knowledge can be conveyed. So all these things are important. That is also another change you can see that by the feedback. Motivation change model. There are now we are talking about the different models basically to focus on the individual now. The well-known work of the David uh, McLean on the changing larger systems by the changing basic motives of the individuals is quite well known and has been widely used in the India in the development of the entrepreneurships. Now focus of the role. Now here actually have to focus on the role. Organizational change can be brought about by the changing the organizational rules. Centrally, uh, centrality versus the peripherality. Centralized and the peripherality. Suppose the core areas. So, for example, I am a production manager and my role is very important. So that is a some sort of things and integration versus the distance integrations. I am able to use my knowledge very well here. There is some then that things we have to integrate it. And finally through the distance integrations. Another focus area that is a productivity versus the reactivity. I prepare the budget for discussions versus I prepare the budget to the guidance given by my boss. So here things are role differences are given. Linkages versus the isolations. There is a, I work in close relations with the production managers. So different role are there. They are focusing different for the different role of changes. Helping versus the hospitality, hostility. Whenever I have problems, others help me instead of people who here are indifferent to others. So it is some definition basically, and to understand the things, influence versus powerlessness is a problem solving areas. My advice on the industrial relations is accepted by the top management. That is by the influences, yes. I am able to influence the general policy of marketing. So that is a powerlessness versus influence. So influence means whatever the your leadership, the leader should be a good influencer because whatever he is saying, everybody has to obey and maintain the things. So all these things are pertaining to your type of changes. Then growth versus stagnations, then confrontations versus the avoidance, all are areas. Now focus on teams. Organizational development. OD in short, model of the change is based on the assumptions. So organizational change would require change in basic values or the ethos of the organizations. So this is very important culturally. It emphasizes both team building and development of the values, mainly the octopack. It is in short, there is value is openness. O stands for openness. C for confrontations. T for trust. A for authenticity. P for your proactions. Then A for your autonomy. C for collaboration and experimenting. There's a process and the stages for the team building purposes. Now, uh, focus on the teams, the work redesigning, because when the changes occur or really likely to be changes there, then definitely you have to redesign it. Work design is very important. Work design focuses on the distribution of the power. Basically, the distribution of the power of the decision making process and the work related matters within the group or to the group which is responsible for the business. That is your reluctance, guarded committee commitment, and your intergroup dynamics, positive interaction, interest, isolation of the negative elements, and networking. These all are for the redesigning purposes. Then structural changes, because within your organization, structurally it has to see the how to the hierarchy systems flow of communications, what type of environment. So everything are this part of your structural changes models. The change introduce the demand, the new ways of the working, what the way you have to work. Individuals respond to such demands. Some good accounts are available of such changes. So that's why the MBO is the management by object, the specific example for the structural changes. This is even using a structured way of types of change for the helping the organization's plan. The time-bound objectives at all levels, so that everybody has to finish their work at a time frame. And so, and objectives are set it. So what are the objectives? Target has to be met within the stipulated periods. And if any loopholes or something or lagging behind it, so you have to make up on how to finish the work in the next stages or next terms. So you have to plan accordingly. So that's why some adaptations and there's some monitoring in the work in the group as individual. So that part are very important. Then type of changes and the continuous or incremental changes, because some of the changes are continuous and some of the changes may be incremental. Maybe the first 3 months some changes are there. Maybe after the second lot, for the transfer policies, maybe the first initially 50%, 10% people are to be transferred from within a span of 2 years. Then some gap will be, then see the stability. Then again, the further stage. So there is the incremental changes is also there. So discontinue or the radical changes, then your participative changes and directive changes. There are so many changes. Now, turnaround management is also important. There is also part of your change process, because the company consecutively 3 to 4 years are not profitable, and some ambiguities, a lot of problems are arising. Not identify the problem area cannot be identified properly. So maybe some system has to be changed, and maybe the new leaderships are required. They can turn the company in other way. So maybe the past failure can be achieved, can be overcome. So competitive or the other environmental pressures. So when the customer demand for the products or the services declines, the firm may close to and to withdraw some of the resources and maybe launch the new and attempt for the new things. So turnaround survival purposes basically. So we have to attempt to grow the company, not stopping the company. This is the area, this is the point, or turnaround we can see. So turnaround management has also been looked at from the domestic and the international perspectives also, because when you turnaround management are not only the domestic area, you have to see the international area also, so that you can continue further. That type of situation may not come again. The process through the different stages before the finally turnaround, because there are so many stages are there. One fine day, it may not be possible for in a very one putting in one bottom. No. So time is required. This is a process basically, and lot of stages are there. So to prepare for that, for these stages. So type of turnaround are the distinctives, configurations, elements, and the turnaround elements. Typology are useful in various ways. They help us to conceive the multidimensionals. Additionally, tightening the link phenomena such as species of the plant, insect, or the animal life, types of political and the economic systems, and types of organizations. So, a turnaround performance, several studies. There has been a lot of studies has been done. In several studies inside. So basically, it has company with the C companies. C companies are very much required the turnaround purposes, basically, so that their business cannot be stopped. They can continue. Uh, so we see the turnaround actions are part of wider organizational process that we realize that a flux of the turnaround is lever in which a large number of currents, some are horizontal and some sideways, some vertical, and some diagonal are at, uh, are at play. So interacting with and influencing one another is very important. These processes are the stuff of organizational dynamics because what are the different dimensions are going on. So you have to club, you have to increase and put in a particular one direction so that the organizations can be survive. Plan change. Now, some of the things are you are planning the change, how to change it. So it can be defined as a change activities that are intentional and goal oriented. Change is a natural phenomena, and all human system change, but much less often as compared to a business corporate organizations. The change in a business organization is either a piecemeal change or to deal with the routine problems or a plan change. Means already you have planned this time these things to be happened. Goal of plan change. Essentially, there are two goals or of the plan change. There are seek to improve the ability of the organizations and seek to change employees' behavior. There are two things because you have to adapt. First things your ability of the organizations to adapt because organizations should be ready for that changes. You have to create in such a environment that the change is coming. So before that, you have to prepare. Basically, preparedness or awareness that environment is creating. Second things, employees are ready to accept the new changes, welcome the new changes. So that behavior patterns are to be changed. So there are two basic areas for goal plan changes. No need for plan change. Why it is required? So there are several reasons. Major changes in the external environment, technology, nature of workforce may make a organization's existing structure, management practices, or its culture obsolete for the new situations. So these things are pressurized or create a situations for the changes, plan changes. The change for the plan change in the organization is for the following purposes. Now we have to see what is the purpose: creativity, directions, delegations, coordination, and collaboration. That is the specific purpose of the types of change. Now the types of changes are the change and that drives the organizations. These are not functional changes, but the relationship between among the organizational part. Major change in the ways of doing the work, basic cultural change, values. Now there are phases of the transformations because changes mean there are transformations. What are the phases? First is establishing the sense of urgency because you have to create a sense of urgency. Yes, it is required. Otherwise, so that urgency you have to create. Then forming a powerful guiding coalitions. So everybody, so that's why some formation of a guiding is required, rules, regulations, or policies. Then creating a visions for that. Now the change, here some process transformation process is given. The process of transformation and the strategy that is, this is the way you can represent two axes dimensional change, dimensional chart basically. You can form it. Then factors critical to change. What are the factors that successful or for the successful organizations in the business world? They have to three of characteristics. They are more profitable than their counterparts. They are growing faster than their competitors, and they are also recognized as a leader of at least some part of their industries. So the critical changes part. Workplace contents, and that we are happy people. They to have the three main characteristics. They feel they have significant control over it, and they feel these are all are questionable. They have to can survey the things or distribute the some of the questionnaires through this survey. You can see the what are the feeling of the workmen, and they are really ready for this or not, and that type of environment created or not. Through this discussion, through the feedback, it can be collected and see they are really ready for the changes. So they feel the respect for the contribution they made. Uh, they are contributing to something worth doing because yes, what I have done that is really worthful for the company itself. So that type of feelings you have to create. Some of these dimensions are long-term corporate objectives, then culture and the values, management styles, business strategy, organizational structures. These all are some of the dimensions. This is the area to be look up to. Then factors, critical factors. That is the corporate objectives, culture and values, uh, your decision making and the communication progresses, policies, as is then personal management, basically the human resources. So all are the critical areas or to create a change, I mean to establish the change. As for the Mackin's 7S model is developed, where it has been shown what are the important of the contest. It's the superordinated goals, then style, staffs, skills, strategy, structure, and the system. There are 7S. You see the all the everywhere. The first word is yes. So that's why it is 7S. McKinsey models are given, and you can see his works in the particular organizations and where he has implemented all the things and he has succeeded. And finally, it is created some of the theory. Now, this is a structure of the things, your dimension of 7S diagrams. Now is the superordinated goals, the structure, systems. This is the way all are integrated. Unique part is everything are well connected. The network you see here, everything are away. 5 connections. If I see show you that is cursor is not working. You see there are all the items or the elements are interconnected, and finally it is I see that it is integrated with all the information from strategy, structure. So all everything are getting connected. So such a way it is the integrated. I mean the network are like this. Now, the process of bringing the cultural change in the organizations are as follows. That is understanding the old, old culture, first things, encourage the change in the employees, then don't impose the culture factors, technical factors, then leave the new cultures because you see how much they have accepted or not. You have to wait and watch, see, and if modification required, you can also modify the time to time. Um, some of the things, the factors influence the organizational culture. That is a history. Sometimes the history is also influenced by these things. Suppose if you are very well educated family, then definitely it will create some influence. You know, I have to be also learned man or some of the increase my qualification, so that it will affect. So history, background are very important. And then the size of the company is also important. Then technology is another things the which influenced leaderships and the missions. So all these things are your factors basically. Now key factors. But understanding the whole culture, as we say, that is encourage the change of the employees, follow the understanding unit, don't impose cultural change, let it be stabilized by virtue of the human nature, because lead with a vision, large scale change takes time, leave the new cultures. So these all are the key factors. Then your strategic behavior of the development organizations, the domain complaints, learning strategy, innovation, innovative diffusions, then you're seeking the autonomy, a domain technological strategy, development strategy. Now see the how to reduce or how to closing your cultural gaps. That is another issues because manager and consultants therefore have to work especially hard to encourage the work groups, including the executive groups, to meet one another halfway in cultures change in the programs to succeed. So listing the agreed new set of norms as the people start playing them out immediately. So top management group only to find the same feelings of helplessness. So the gap, closing the gap is very important. So closing the cultural gap through the cultural changes initiatives requires accurate information because the information is very important from all areas, from top to bottom, and multi-level and the functional groups actively participating in the cultural change, the management techniques to promote the new norms. It was suggested that a representative survey of the cultural gaps be subsequently conducted across all divisions in the company, where the cultural change is managed explicitly. The company can expect the significant improvement in both moral and the performance. It will be in the best sense of the word, the cultural organizations. So, focus should be the communications, informations. There are two things, and by the help of the technology, we can reduce that. We can change the things, and it can be more closer, more informative. So, and it is not a one-man show. Means everybody has to be collaboratively do it because participation of all top managements and the workers are required, and clear-cut idea should be there. That should be maybe the through this notice awareness to be created. Means multi levels, so all the levels and functional groups should be there. So all the functional groups also to be talk to each others. They have to uh, exchange their ideas so that the information are nowhere. Information should be the lacking. Everybody should have a all the information should be aware of all these things. So don't waste the time to asking something what is opinion. Everybody should be aware of all these things. So that part the discussion can be reduced and closes will be more because there will be no conflict, no debate, nothing. Because the information sometimes are creating a conflict also. And it is very time consuming also because every time you are discussing, you are saying something, same information you are circulating to everybody, everyone, one by one. So it is a wastage of time and energy also. So we have to make a systems in such a way that information can be one go. Everybody should be aware of all these things. So there are no need to questions again and again the same thing. So we have to make it that type of plan or the system. So then only we can the cultural gaps can be reduced. Understand? So I think now I have to discuss some of the important questions from the block one. Some of the things are very important. As they discuss different factors which affect the business change. That type of questions may come. So, what are the factors you have to derive? What are the factors are the responsible for the business changes? As I said, some of the factors will the trigger for the changes. What are the things that the market? As I said, the technology. As I said, and some of the war also, and the demand behaviors. I mean, the designers of the customers. This is all a triggering point for the changes factors. Then maybe another questions can discuss the future mindset and how one can be ready to adapt the change. So future mindset is required so that the things are to be changed and the have to adapt as early as possible. There as a organizational point of view and behaviorally all the employees should be ready for these changes. They should welcome the changes. Another questions may come that is what do you understand by the change and discuss that type of questions may come. Then discuss different factors which affect the business change. You have to explain it. Then discuss the mindset. What do you understand by the change? Okay, that will change. Explain the 10 dimensions. Then explain the organizational development as a useful model of this change. There are so many models of this. Then what is the process of the consultations? Detail. Then how the turnover management can be applied for the organizations. This is the way type of questions are coming. Then your plan change. What is the plan change of the organizations? Then the phases of the transformations. In the beginning, change in the organizations are also important. Is the so many other questions also there important factors. Then your modeling, organizational culture change, describe some of the cross-cultural experiences. These type questions may come. And lastly, that is the consideration of what aspects have to taken into consideration for the closing cultural gaps. This is important. So, okay, thank you very much for these sessions, and we're waiting for the next sessions. Thank you.